full one on this channel. How you doing today, everybody? This is J South Fun Video Games, bringing you today the first Gameroom Tour of 2026. And you're going to ask yourself, because you've probably been here a few times at this point, why am I out here? Well, this is a complete different room from the game room, but we have finally found a way to properly display these machines and make it easier for everybody to have fun and play them, because that's the point of why we have them. They're not just objects, cool looking things. These things are meant to be played. They're arcade one-ups. I got 3 of them. I'd like to get one more, maybe a Terminator, maybe X-Men, maybe Simpsons. I don't know. There's a lot of different ones that we could get. I could probably fit one more, but it just can't be that big. That thing's too big. These ones are perfect size. So this right here, this idea came up from, just me moving these out of where they were and trying to figure out a spot where they would make sense. I finally have the game room sign up that has been long awaited to be put up. The reason why I couldn't put this up in my original room is this cord right here. It's a little bit too small, and I don't have any ceiling height or mid-level room plugs, so it just wouldn't have worked. There's one place it could have worked, but I actually think it was better to wait and put them up here. And I want to take a closer look at these, because the third one you're probably not too sure. Probably haven't seen this before, so just take a quick look. I think it's necessary. There we go. And you can't really see up here, but we're gonna get to it. That sign just looks amazing, by the way. So we've seen this before. Yes, 4 people can actually play simultaneously on it. Can't beat the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's awesome. And of course, right here is Gallagher. It doesn't have my high score. I don't know where my high score went. I had 95,000 for years, and I finally broke 100, and now it's back to 630. Not really sure what happened. Maybe it's just a glitch. This one right here, we haven't really talked about much because it's one that you've never seen before. This is one that I got prior to, I think, or right after Hurricane Ian. I'm not sure. It was a Christmas present. Didn't put it together for well over a year. Finally did, and then just kind of lost track of time, didn't do a review on it. That review is going to be coming. I think the important part of that review is going to be really just this, right? So you've got first generation or closest to it, later generation, and then the latest generation that I have, although there may be a few more machines after it. But there's significant differences with all these, and I think that for somebody trying to get into buying these or wanting to purchase them, wanting to try a new one out, knowing the differences in generations, I think would be a super big help. This had nothing to do with me, though. I'm going to be honest with you. This is all my wife, Cynthia, and then my daughter helped out as well. So the layout is obviously Cynthia. This right here is an important sign. And why is that? Well, that sign has been kicking around since 2021. My brother-in-law made it for me. It's kind of like a going away gift. He did not have time to finish the controller. Cynthia and my daughter were able to finally finish making the controller look good. It just had a stencil of it. I think it came out great. I think this is the perfect place for it, and I'm really excited about this. I truly am. I think this is going to be a lot of fun for folks that come over, have some fun, play some games, be entertained, and I think it just looks really good. I think it's awesome. It looks much better at nighttime. So we'll take one more look at that in the nighttime, or in the no light version. I think it looks great. Look at that. That is just something different. So we're going to be moving on to the regular part of the game room now. What you've all been waiting for, as always. So let's get to it. And it's not too far away, which is great. If you look at this, this is like a normal door. You wouldn't even know. I think it's supposed to be for an office. It could even be a bedroom if you wanted it to be. It isn't closed, but behind these doors is me being hard at work. My place to go to calm down, my place to go to have some fun, and my place to recollect and slip into the 90s and 80s nostalgia. Here we go. And here it is.
You've seen this if you've been with the channel a few times. We've got a good amount of changes. Giving a quick pan view right here. All right, we are back. It's time to get this game room tour started. Get on the right foot and do the round thing. Lots and lots to look at. Very happy with the changes that I've made. And we're going to start off in our normal place as always. We got right over here some love for the old Ghostbusters. Can't go wrong with that. It didn't really cost much. It cost a couple bucks, something like that. I got that years ago. I've had it in a lot of my game rooms, but you got to show love for the 80s and 90s, because that's really what this room is. Some 70s mixed in here. And then, of course, we've got our Elm Street sign right here that never likes to really sit the way I want it to, but again, I think I got it like a Spirit Halloween. I think I got these both at a Spirit Halloween. I'm not sure. Or something around those lines, but they're really cool. This right here we don't normally see too often because there's something usually in front of this door, but this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze NECA 4-figure collection. I got this along with the Toka and Reza. And I didn't think I was going to get it, but luckily for me, I saw it just in time. I went on NECA's website, just checking things out, and lo and behold, there it was. And I'll tell you, these figures are awesome. They're very detailed. I think they do a fantastic job. The Turtles figures for NECA are highly sought after. Horror figures, everything from NECA is pretty much highly sought after. They do a really good job of it. Some of this stuff isn't, always the best, isn't always perfect, but, I'd say overall I'm very pleased with what I have there. And I'm not really liking this glare, but, it is what it is. These are new additions to the game room. You've probably seen them at some point or another, but these two down here, that's a Toys R Us tag. I got that over here, probably because of that, but it's the Hulk. We don't have a lot of representation of the Hulk here. Punisher. I would have liked to get a few more figures from this line. I think there was a Wolverine, and, I just liked them. They just had the comic book. They just had a great look to them, but never could really fit them. I think I had them in my last game room in my last house down in Florida, but I can't remember. This right here is the Phoenix. And take a look at that. KB Toys. 3 for $10 from $7.99. I always wanted the Phoenix. I saw one randomly and was able to buy it, which is great. And that's an original one that I got. And this one right here has got an interesting story. The Xena Warrior Princess from Hercules, the Legend continues, of the legendary journeys. I'm sorry, the legend continues. I think that's Kung Fu, but nevertheless. This figure was something I was after for a long time. There's another variation of it I have. I'm pretty good with this. I would have liked to get a Hercules one as well. This was a pretty good show back in the day. I had to put something here because what was here before was the pictures that are in the arcade setup of the game room, like entertainment play area, whatever you want to call it. So got a ton of posters. You can't see them all, unfortunately, but this one's for The Walking Dead. Real big fan of The Walking Dead. All Out War. I know that season 7 typically was where, after a certain event happens in the beginning, is where the show historically took a downfall. I don't know why. I really liked it. I thought that the whole series was good. I think at the end, because of the writer's strike, there's been a few of those throughout the years that have affected a lot of shows. I think that'd be a great video to talk about, as well as the what ifs. If writer strikes didn't happen at certain times in certain shows, could have we gotten another season? Could we have maybe seen something different? I think it'd be a good thing, but I think that may be the leading contributing factor of that. But listen, at the end of the day, it's a great show. They're still going strong today. You got the Book of Daryl, the Book of Carol. You got the ones who live with Rick and Michonne. I really like the show. I hope that they come back and deliver at least one more season of The Walking Dead that kind of combines it all, and then end it, maybe 2. But I'd be good with 1 just to kind of see the good ending, real ending, although there's a lot of differences with the comic and everything like that. Some are good, some are bad. Some are just kind of in the middle, but nevertheless, Another one up there is Mars Attacks. Great movie from the 90s. It was a remake of a movie that was originally released, I think, in the monster era, like in the 50s or 60s. But I love it. A really good movie. That's definitely one that definitely keeps into my mind. Another thing from, I think, Spirit Halloween or something around those lines. It's almost like a newspaper. Well, it's exactly what it is, actually. It's like a newspaper clipping of the Haddonfield Herald, Halloween Night Massacre. How they got a picture of Michael in both those places, who knows? But I just think it's something cool. It's something that adds definitely a little flavor to the game room. This right here, NECA figure prop, Friday the 13th, I think either part 3 or 4. One of those masks, I think they're pretty cool, but I left it in the box, had it around forever. That used to be the only version available of Friday the 13th, part 7, The New Blood, Jason, until NECA finally released an ultimate of it. And one of my favorite figures, keep it up high. I'd rather have it up here, but, you know, it is what it is. What are you going to do? Needed to fill up some of these walls. So right here, of course, you're going to notice the theme in the game room is movie posters. I absolutely love them. I wish I had more room for them. I wish I had an entire house full of posters. Of course, there's the OG Halloweens. Can't go wrong with that. Along with its sequels that followed. Again, huge into horror. That's one you haven't seen in a long time. Is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one. Just didn't have a good place for it. Now I do. Got some stuff from Toy Story. That toy dog looks like a Slinky. George W. Bush used to say some funny things, but batteries have since died. Thrift find. And of course the golden egg. Can't go wrong with that. I like a gobble stopper. And I'd like maybe some figures from Willy Wonka. A chocolate bar would be awesome. But, you know, that's okay. It's not the actual golden egg, but it reminds me of the movie. It's such a good movie. Over here is G.I. Joe. Not really much on the G.I. Joe front for me. I did watch it a good amount of the time as a kid, but not as much as Ghostbusters or Masters of the Universe or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or a few others. But still, I did like it. I did enjoy it. Always wanted a Sergeant Slaughter. Always wanted a Destro in the size. I did find in a larger size the Cobra Commander and the Destro. Finally was able to track it down. I do have a Destro. I don't remember if I still have it, but I got it. It was kind of one of those cloth figures, very tall. Had the rubber boots and, you know, the cloth outfit. Lost the mask. So it was always good to see what was underneath Destro's mask. I don't know why I always found that funny. I don't think you ever saw who was under the Cobra Commander mask, but I have those. I think they're going to eventually go over here at some point. Made some room, finally moved some stuff around. These are things you've seen before, but we will go over it as if you didn't. Machete. Again, a lot of the stuff is Spirit. I'm not going to say it every time. Never know when you're going to need a good machete. This shrunken head. Severed head, rather. Shrunken severed head has been in my game room for a very long time. That's from the 90s. No idea where I got that from. I can't go wrong with the old black snake. I got a few snakes around. Barbed wire bat from Walmart. Not the best quality, but, you know, I thought it was fun at the time. And then, of course, I got this from somebody I used to work with that loves going to the thrift as well. It's an actual Negan bat. Super huge fan of Negan and that story arc. Really like it. I know it's subjective, but hey, I'm just telling you how it is. This is a thing, again, that I've gotten from similar something to Spirit or something around those lines. All the masks are Friday the 13th, Jason masks. So you got Sackhead, you got part 3. That's obviously part 4, part 5. And this is where we start getting weird. That's part 7. I don't know what the hell that is, because that is similar to that. So that may be part 6. That should have been reversed. And then another part 7. And then we've got not a part 8, because it doesn't look like it at all. But maybe it was. Jason 10. Jason X. And of course, that one's pretty obvious. That one is Freddy versus Jason. So, interesting piece. Like it. Represents Jason. Can't get enough Jason in my life. This right here is the Maximum Carnage set that I've been able to get, along with the old Carnage himself. These are released from Toy Biz, and they were released because of Maximum Carnage, the comic book or the game? I'm not sure. Let me know if you know that, because I've never really dug into that. I got these much later in life. This was a eBay buy, I believe, many years ago. And just love it. There's a few different accessories with each of them. Same with here. It's a Carnage. You can't go wrong with Carnage. And a lot of these will come with a collector's pin. I think those look pretty cool. I don't know how they'd look out of the box. I don't ever think I'll ever take them out. Carnage is definitely a favorite of mine when it comes to the comic book and the show. Absolutely love Carnage. Carnage is crazy. There's some of the other Toy Biz action figures. We'll get to it at some point. 1994 release. I'm going to try to put that up there without dropping it, because last time I did this, I think I almost did. Oh, we got lucky. Up here is a few AEW figures that I have. I have a few more laying around. You got Jericho, Moxley, Kenny Omega, and I think the one up top is Mr. Luke Harper. So, pretty cool stuff right there. I don't have a lot of AEW figures, but I had a few of them. I like the fact that there's competition in the wrestling world. Some people are probably safe to say that there isn't a whole bunch, or maybe there isn't any at all. Again, this is subjective. I just like having the opportunity to watch both shows. I prefer WWE, of course, for most of the time, but I also like watching a lot of old stuff. New stuff is good. Super pumped when CM Punk came back. Cody Rhodes, the story arc with him and Roman Reigns, the Bloodline. Some great stuff. Listen, there's a lot of great stuff sprinkled over the last 5 or 6 years. But, you know, at some point in time, they got to take some time to cool down, reinvent, and go from there. Same thing with AEW. They got some good stuff over there, but some of this stuff just, I don't know, just doesn't resonate with me. Maybe it would have, and it is more stuff that's geared towards that era that I love, and a lot of people my age are nostalgic for, the Attitude Era. But I think that maybe that has come and passed. Maybe we want something so bad we get it, and then we don't know what the hell to do with it. I don't know. But that's just my 2 cents. I did some changes over here finally. The wrestling figures are no longer here, other than one, because I couldn't fit it over there. That's a Muhammad Ali. Those WWE superstars we'll get into later and why they're important to me. Got some Amiibo figures. I think I have gotten on, I could almost say safely and surely, rather, that I have gotten all the Amiibos that I want. The only one I do want left is Link, an adult Link, and I can't seem to find it. Don't know why. I could find Toon Link. I have a Toon Link. I'm trying to see if I got any up there. I found the link for the NES version of it, but I cannot seem to find that damn adult Link. And that's the one I prefer to have the most up on the wall. This is one of the pretty big changes in the room. Before, this was Turtles. Now there's just a mix. Now, why is it a mix? Because that's not normally what I like to do. I tried to get Star Wars Power of the Force figures up there. I have a whole bunch of those. I really wanted to display them and give it its proper time in the limelight, in the sun, as they say. Unfortunately, those figures do not stand. Maybe 2 out of every 5 might stand. The rest of them fall. That is a freestanding shelf. That does not work. We will have chaos and stuff everywhere. So I had to call an audible. And the audible was find Scooby-Doo, because I love Scooby-Doo. I haven't had Scooby-Doo up in a while. Maybe combine a few other things. But Scooby-Doo hasn't been found so far. It's buried somewhere in the garage of Doom and the totes of Doom, because there's all a bunch of Doom going on in this house. We do have a representation of Power of the Force, and that was something that I was so happy to get. Jabba the Hutt and Han Solo. There's Jabba right there, out of the box. I did have the opportunity to get 2 of them. Obviously, special editions, we could get into that and be here all day. Everything is subjective at the end of the day. I like the special editions. I also like the theatrical cuts. I like the newer movies. Some of them more than others. And that's for the prequels. And then, of course, the newer ones that have come out. The newest 3, the 7, 8, and 9, I think it was. I'd like to see maybe 3 more, if they could figure out something to do with it. But maybe it's best that it just stops. Because those original 3, if you weren't there, and I was not even born when any of them were ever released, I just missed it by a year. I saw all the prequels in the theaters, and I think I saw 2 out of the 3 of the newer ones in the theaters as well. Nothing matches that. For me, the original Star Wars was just something different. And it's all things mixed in together. I can't really put my finger on it, but that's my representation of it. And right here, some figures you may not have seen before. You can't see them all. But I got 2 types of figures in there. The first ones that you see is going to be Heath Ledger in his police outfit when he's pretending to be a cop, when he's attempting to assassinate Commissioner Gordon in The Dark Knight. I really like that. You don't see that very often. It's a pretty sought after figure and set. There's another one back there as well. But that's the one that definitely stuck out to me, of course. Anything with Joker, I love the Joker. This right here is a piece you haven't seen in forever, or if you've ever seen it. I'm not sure. Back when Resident Evil was still in its infancy, that's 3, so, you know, we're just starting to get going because there's been a lot of Resident Evils. Resident Evil's been coming and going since 1995, 1996, depending on where. I think it was released in Japan in 95. I could be wrong, but I know 96 in the States. These figures go for a good amount of money. I'd love to have a complete collection of the Resident Evil game. Not the games. I have a lot of the games of Resident Evil figures. Absolutely love them. I think they came out really well. And that is what you got. You've got parts for Nemesis. But that is Mr. X. But it says it's the Tyrant Resident Evil 2 version. That's not really correct. That is Mr. X. Eventually becoming the Tyrant. But that's okay. Really good piece. Goes for a good amount of money. And it's got Chris Redfield in there. And you're wondering, actually, no. That's Nemesis. So hold on a second here. I'm super confused. We got to look at this again. So you got Mr. X. You got Chris. Resident Evil 3. But that's the Chris from Code Veronica. And then you've got Chris from Code Veronica. Okay, so it's a mixture. It's Chris Code Veronica, Tyrant Resident Evil 2. Okay. So this is part of the Resident Evil 3 set, although it has figures from Code Veronica and Resident Evil 2. So that makes no sense to me at all. I think that's the first time I've really taken a look at this. I find that funny that there is a ESRB rating, even though it's not a game. That's Resident Evil rating from the ratings board. But still, it's a great piece. I've had other figures in the past. I had the zombie one. I had Jill. I had a few of them, but I really would love all of them. I would take down a few things just to dedicate wall space to that. I would. We would figure it out. This right here is some you haven't seen in a long time. The defining moments. This is wrestling, and yes, I have my wrestling right behind us. But I wanted to get these out. I think they deserve to be showcased. I really think and I hope that I don't make everything fall by doing this. Should have just grabbed the ladder, but I did not. So we're going to try to do this as easy as possible. There we go. Right behind there is Hulk Hogan when he won his first championship. A few days after I was born in 1984, and that's the belt right there. It looks a lot different. And of course, that's a different sculpt of Hogan. But just looking at these figures, like look at that. That is the old school Intercontinental title. Razor Ramon. I think he's one of the most underrated figures in wrestling. Great sense of the business as I talk as an adult that, you know, kind of knows a little bit about wrestling. I wasn't a wrestler, I wasn't a promoter, and wasn't involved with any of it. But, you know, you learn things, you know, down the line. And this is one of the guys that got it. And he was amazing. I had so much fun watching his matches. And then as I watch other matches when I'm older of his earlier stuff before WWE, whatever you call it. Some great stuff. And he was in WCW before WWE, went to WWE, and went back to WCW, and went back to WWE, and then it's crazy how history is. It makes you really scratch your head sometimes. But we're going to get one more of these out here because I want to show them both off. The Warrior. This was one of my favorite figures and favorite wrestlers. Hogan obviously is the top. This is definitely one of them. This is the one from WrestleMania 7 during the match between the Macho Man and the Ultimate Warrior. Just look at the level of detail there. That's pretty close to what he had on, I believe. The Macho King, I'm sorry. It wouldn't have been the Macho Man. Oh, it does say Macho King. Okay, so they were correct. Yeah, that was his retirement match, and then, he would end up coming back, because never say never, but really good stuff. Always loved the Ultimate Warrior. Such a colorful figure. And, of course, you can't go wrong with Sting in the black and white. The Crow makeup. Great story arc, 1997. Did it have the best payoff? I mean, I liked it. I liked it for what it was. I didn't actually see it till much later in life. I was a WWF, WWE guy. I hate having to say that, but you gotta kind of make sure you differentiate so people know what the hell you're talking about. They haven't been called WWF in a long time, but my best friend was really into WCW. And what we would do back in the day, and this definitely dates me because people don't really do this anymore unless maybe they do video calls or text or whatever, but we'd be on our home phones watching the TV. I'd be reviewing Raw. He would be reviewing Nitro and what's going on with there. Sometimes we would switch back and forth. Those are times you can't come back. Those are times that were fun. And that's how we were able to watch both shows at the same time. It was good stuff. Definitely brings me back. Those figures are great. I'd love to have a few more, as we all would like to have a few more of everything. Oh, look at that. Another Toys R Us sticker. And that was, what does it say, $14.99? I can't read that. Eyes are going bad. But I like the shelf. I could definitely interchange that with a lot of different things. I really wish I could have got the Power of the Force. If I ever get a place, or a room rather, that's a little bit bigger, I think the Power of the Force is the first thing that's going on the wall, so there's no if, buts between it. Not all of them, but I think a good chunk of them need to go up. It needs some representation. A lot of people are very skeptical on these figures, whether they will reach their initial price point and profit. People bought these like crazy for years, and then obviously the toy market's a lot like the stock market. Things can go really high. Example, the man-eating cow. Really expensive toy. It was $500, $600. I ended up getting, I think, for $475. My first ever complete in box figure, mint on card, that said this is where I'm going to start collecting, was the Tick man-eating cow. Nowadays, you can get it for just a little bit of nothing. It's not really that much. Mine isn't in the best of shape. Sun faded, bunch of moves. You know how it goes. But it's funny how things go, because now would be, I think Power of the Force came out in 1995 and so on. It would technically be 25 years that figure line has been out. The original Star Wars figures, certain ones are worth a lot. And listen, is worth a lot important to me? Is the profit important to me? Not right now. Maybe somewhere down the line it will be. But the reason why I collect figures is because I like them. I like displaying them, and I think they're cool, and brings me back to a different time. But for the collector, the reseller, whatever it may be, somebody who's just sitting on a gold mine, if you have some of those figures, I've seen one out of the box that can go for over $10,000. So imagine that, just for example, over $10,000. That's crazy to me. But I get it. I love collecting. I get the hunt. I get it 100%. Moving on, we've got some Amiibo figures here. Nothing has changed with this. Again, just looking for that adult Link. And then on the top, I did not change anything up here as of yet. Although I debated on it, but Star Wars didn't work out, so I said, no, not today. Excuse me. These are the Toy Biz line that I was referring to earlier. 1994 for a number of years after, maybe 99, 2000, I'm not sure. I've got a good amount of these. I've got my favorites up here. Obviously, you got your Spider-Man, black costume Spider-Man, Venom, Carnage, and the Punisher, because I didn't expect to ever see the Punisher on a cartoon. But there he was. Those figures got some good value in them. I got a lot of those figures in lots from eBay. Working out some great deals with some sellers. Wanted to get some of the stock out. It doesn't sell for a whole bunch, but there's a good amount of money in them. And it's something that I'm nostalgic for. They're 26 years old. It's crazy. A lot of them are. And then the last piece up here that I will go over is that Venom from Spider-Man 3. It was certainly not my favorite incarnation of Venom. But I liked the movie for what it was. I like all three of them. I thought they were pretty good. But that Venom just didn't hit it for me. But I like the way the figure looks. I like Topher Grace as an interesting choice for Venom. I'm not an actor, so where am I to judge? And again, it's subjective, but I like the ones that just came out within the last couple of years with that Venom. I think he nailed it. The video game for Spider-Man nailed the look of Venom. So, going down here before we move on, this right here is some rubber heads, squishy ones. Jason and Freddy, got them along the lines. They've been in my collection for a long time. And up there you can't really see them. That's an Austin Powers from one of those claw machines. Took forever to get them. And then, of course, you get the Black Rose. You can't go wrong with that. This was a coin set that was released with the Mario 3D game set for the Switch. Love it. Just one of those things that I think looks great in the game room. V for Vendetta. Like the movie. I think it's an interesting premise to get you thinking. And I thought the figure was awesome. I don't know. Just something about that figure I like. Right here, we got some Masters of the Universe representation. A Skeletor, and then we've got the Moss Man. I'm sorry I can't really show him, but I think he looks pretty good. Got him on clearance for, the big box retailer, like Walmart or something. Yeah, I think it was Walmart. And, they're normally, those are normally like $40, which is insane. I don't know if I'd pay $40 for it, but I was willing to pay that for it. It was a good price. And before I get to that one, because that's a little bit of a long story, there's the Crow, Brandon Lee. I need more Crow in my life. I don't have enough Crow. I wish I got the 2-pack of Top Dollar and the Crow in it from, I believe that's NECA. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to get roasted for that if it's not. But I think Movie Maniacs might have been NECA. Maybe not. No, I'm sorry, it's McFarlane. I should get roasted for that. There's too many different figures that I can't remember. But those are pretty cool. I had a Jason and a Freddy and a Michael, but I have no idea where they went, unfortunately. This right here, before we move on, is a super important figure. It is not an authentic one. It is a re-release, as you could tell from the logo of WWE, not WWF. There are two versions of these figures. They were released within the last year. The variant or chase, I don't really like calling it chase. I don't know, that terminology just does not resonate with me whatsoever. I get it, I understand. It sounds cool, it's catchy, but the variant of that would be the black background with the figure in it. I prefer the blue because that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a representation of good old LGN. They made some banger games, didn't they? Long-running joke in the gaming community, but that right there is the first action figure, I think, and I'm pretty confident in it, that I ever had. In my younger years, I want to say that's probably 2 years old, maybe 3. Yep, I had a bunch of these. I still have a few of them. A lot of them, between moving around a few times when I was younger. Unfortunately, did not make it. That was one of the ones that I think made it or did not make it. I can't remember. But I moved around so much at this point that, we're talking. I'll be 42 very, very, very soon. That sometimes you just forget these things. But that is why that's there. Thank you very much to my wife Cynthia for being kind enough to get that for me for Christmas. Awesome figure. Will I go after the rest is probably what your question, because it's me. I would like the Cena and the Dusty. There's a Logan Paul in there I have no interest in it. But the Dusty and the Cena because the Cena's last year, everything, maybe it's just nostalgia for me. I don't have enough Cena. I didn't think I had one Cena figure. I like Cena. Cena's a good wrestler. Was, whatever. There is one up above there that I finally found, the Thugonomic Cena. The Word Life Cena. That's a funny Cena. The one that's available here is like a red one. But still, pretty cool stuff. Maybe at some point we'll get them. And we'll go over here. Some of these posters are starting to come unglued. Gonna tape them back up. Gotta have some love for Friday the 13th. Posters we've seen many times on the channel. Nothing new here, folks. But underneath that, there is something new. This right here is what we call irony. I wanted Token Razor so bad. This isn't a commonly known action figure set or action figure company, but I saw them. I think they're at a good price. Had to grab them. I never thought the day would come, as I'm looking at them right now, where I get the Token Razor from NECA. Those figures look really good. Don't get me wrong. NECA's just on a different level, just in my opinion. Their figures are highly detailed. Again, not perfect. Sometimes they have some slips and some blips, but to that, like, you're talking night and day, but still pretty cool. Love Friday the 13th, love horror, love Halloween, love Nightmare on Elm Street, love it all. Now, why was Friday the 13th so big? So the first thing I'll go over is this. That's the first Friday the 13th I ever saw. It's the first movie I ever saw. It was Part 7. Well, why would you go from Part 7 and not watch all the rest of these? Well, I was really young, and my mom used to have the VCR on, recording stuff off of Showtime or Cinemax or one of these things, or maybe it was cable. I think it was probably HBO or Cinemax or Showtime. It was one of those. Because back in the 80s, cable box, pay-per-view, premiere movies, like if you didn't have options for VHS or Laserdisc, was really expensive. The CD-based one before that was pretty expensive. Beta was kind of fading out at that point. You could watch them on, places like HBO, Cinemax, and Showtime. That's the ones that were out back in the 80s into the 90s, and then, of course, so on and so on. But that's one of the ones I watched. Recorded on a VHS player, because that's how we used to record things off the TV. I'm glad that I was able to, because I got a SummerSlam from 1994 along with a Raw, uncut, unedited, the way it was meant to be shown. Because as you know now, whether it's the network or whether it's ones on YouTube, not too much. I think they kept pretty close to it. There's minor edits. There's minor changes. Or there's big changes, like with people that did horrible things and they don't ever want to talk about it again. I like to see things in their original form. I'm glad that I have those. I have some old VHS wrestling tapes as well. I really do wish I kept the VHS WrestleMania up to 14 set, I think it was, on VHS, and I did not. It's not too expensive, but I want to find it at a thrift. That's definitely a thrift-finded item. Don't know if I will. VHS doesn't come up too often in the thrifts where I am, but strange things happen. That's definitely a thrift find. The interesting part of this, like I was saying, that's the first movie I watched. And I remember it very vividly because my mom was okay with all the violence and all the crazy shit on the screen, which that's a whole nother topic. And I'm not going to be here to debate on what somebody should watch and what they shouldn't watch. Parents got to make that decision. That's the end of the day. But I will tell you my story and my perspective. I watched a lot of crazy shit when I was younger. Horror. Probably some stuff I probably shouldn't have seen that she didn't want me to see. I turned out okay. I know right from wrong. That is, for me personally, again, subjective. Maybe somebody else wouldn't be as lucky to do that, but I know the difference between reality and fantasy, and that doesn't make me any better or worse than anybody, but again, that is kind of my stance on it. So, I don't really know where to go with that. It's kind of a slippery slope conversation. There's so many different avenues and information to look at and research, as the kids say. I turned out okay. The only thing I couldn't watch was the nude scenes. I had to cover my eyes. I find that funny. Jason's running around, and again, that's not a very brutal Friday the 13th. A lot of cuts were made to it. The director, John Carl Buechler, was not very happy with the finalized product. Really thought his film got butchered. A lot of the scenes are just VHS quality now. A lot of them were lost. But if you get the Friday the 13th complete set, and I sound like an ad night now, that's okay, or the deluxe versions that were on DVD, you can actually see those scenes that were slashed. And they don't always look the best, don't always sound the best, but it's a part of history and we're preserving it. So the reason why this series of movies is really important to me, I too was born on Friday the 13th. My name's Jason. I was born in 1984 at 1 in the morning, approximately. It took me 25 years of my life asking my mom over and over and over again, here and there. Unfortunately, she's passed away. Not something I really want to get into. It makes me kind of upset, as you can imagine, but I'm talking about good memories. Finally, after 25 years of asking, and not all the time, not being a pest, but I had to know. People used to correlate me with that all the time. Yes, I was a huge fan. You were named after Jason, I admit. She didn't want my grandmother to kill her, which rightfully so, because I think she'd be pretty upset by that. But hey, listen, it is what it is. That's why I have a very deep love for Friday the 13th. My mom absolutely loved every single one of these. I don't know if she saw these later ones. I want to say I got her to watch them, but she watched all the way up to Jason Goes to Hell. I remember that. Because later on in life, she would unfortunately get sick and then, succumb to sickness much, much later. But yeah, she loved her horror, and definitely brings me back. Before we go over here, this is one of the other new parts. The update to the game room. The newest part of the game room. This was made possible by my wife, Cynthia. She wanted to make a place for the arcades. We had this little table that was over in another place. We needed to use another one because it looked better on the wall. She's good with that shit. I'm not. This one was available. It wasn't going to be used anywhere. So I was like, And I'm looking at it. I could break out the tape. I could make sure I'm going to be good. But you know what? I said, fuck it. I'm just getting this in this room. Because I do that every time. I did that with that behind me. 1 or 2 times it doesn't work. But I got a pretty good eye. I'm no expert, but I got a pretty good eye. This is my favorite part of the new and improved game room. The updated game room. I got my nonsense back, folks. Now, this used to be over here. I didn't like it. I don't like that this is over here, but that door cannot open without moving that. And although 6 or 7 times, and I remember because the heart was pounding, I was able to move that, not removing one thing from one side of the room to another. It just became annoying. I didn't want to deal with it. Again, I'd rather have a better display, but you work with the space you have. So that one's going to be over there for now. But this right here, folks, this is something, if you go into my game room tours from up in Massachusetts, I absolutely love the idea of a nonsense table. Glorified nonsense, nonsensical items, doesn't make sense, complete chaos. This is who you're dealing with. And this is how I get most of it out. At least some of this makes sense. Some of it, not all of it. Some of it makes sense, but this one does not. This one's just a cluster. This is just a bunch of stuff that I love. So I'll start off here real quick before we go to the nonsense. A couple of things here I've had over the years. Garfield. This right here, piano doesn't work, the light works. That's an old Halloween decoration. I don't even know what that says. Oh, Pumpkin Halloween, okay. No idea where that's from. That's a limited edition for Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Goes for a pretty penny. And I've had it in the collection for a long time. Green-headed duck, can't go wrong with that. This right here is, we'll go into the other ones in depth. This is the plush corner. These used to be up here. I don't like this. I have less to remove from here. Because all I have to do is get in one door. I don't ever usually open that door because I always have something in the way of it anyway. But I like it. I got a lot of love for the Care Bears. Cookie Monster. Mario, Bowser. You got all kinds of random stuff going in here. Some masks. I like that mask. I like this one as well. It reminds me of Skeletor from Masters of the Universe. I'd say it's pretty close. But we'll get back to the nonsense because I really want to focus on it, but I want to kind of get through this part first, and then we'll go back to it. So right here, we've seen things obviously we've seen before. I was talking about Jabba earlier. This thing right here is great. That radio is finally working again. This is my Goosebump books. Some, some things from Halloween decorations from over the years. That's from a pretty recent one over the last couple of years. That's one from either a Lowe's or a Home Depot. Looks like the skull from Halloween 2. That is a board game that has a VHS, and it's ironically from the Power of the Force line. Parker Brothers game. Pretty cool. I think it has most of the things. That one has an interesting story. My wife knew somebody or was talking to somebody or whatever that was interested in a VHS DVD thing, a combo. I have a good amount of those sitting around. I have one right below my feet. I didn't even realize I had. They said that they had something of interest in Star Wars. It's not super valuable, but, you know, my wife obviously said I was interested in all kinds of old stuff from the 90s and 80s and stuff like that. So we traded off VHS DVD player for that. I think it was a good thing because I'm not really doing anything with it. I'm not selling it. I was just kind of keeping it in case my other VHS players go. And it's a piece of the Power of the Force series that I didn't have. I like to just pop in that VHS at some point because it says it's like never before seen footage of Vader. I'm wondering if it's really James Earl Jones' voice and how it looks. I'm just curious because, you know, some things could be a little misleading, especially on those times. So, nevertheless, pretty cool. The nonsense is what it is, though, folks. We've seen a lot of this over the years. Haven't seen this in a long time. That Kingpin actually has his little cane thing that he has there with a diamond in it. Just look at this. I don't even think I'm going to talk much. I'm going to try not to. Just enjoy. Or not. I mean, maybe this isn't your thing, but there's so many cool things here. Some of them are from my childhood. Some of them are from things I've gotten before. Good old Humpty Dumpty. Super Shredder. Old school Freddy. Some balloons. I mean, just a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I absolutely love this. There's so many things to talk about here, but we're not gonna be on it too long. So Ruffles the Clown, that's one I found at the thrift. Pretty expensive. That hand right there is the Thing. Not the Thing, sorry. Thing from Addams Family. That Thing. Best Thing. Not the other the Thing. It's that Thing. That makes no sense, but whatever. And some of my non-boxed loose figures for NECA, which is the 3 big ones, of course. And yeah, it's got some Maximum Carnage, Ghostbusters. Only you can prevent forest fires. Smokey the Bear now says, only you can prevent wildfires. Sorry, I grew up in the generation that prevents forest fires and has that awesome look to it. That thing is really rusty. I have no idea where it came from, but it's awesome. Because Smokey the Bear always gave you tips and tricks of how to be safer in the woods. I don't know. Could be way off on that, but again, lots of fun. I really like these figures. I really like the way this looks. I think it is me. That is me. I am chaos. 100% chaos, and that is got to be the most chaotic thing I've seen and I've done in a while other than the original Nonsense table. Nonsense bookshelf at one point. These drawers, just a bunch of crap in them. I don't know what's in them. I can't remember. So right here, some more posters. We got the lenticular Heath Ledger, Joker, and the Dark Knight. Really cool. I can't believe I can actually do that on here like that. I've done these enough times where I know how to make it work. I mean, it's not hard, but sometimes you can't. I did it pretty good. Look, there it is. The perfect picture. Awesome. Sopranos, Breaking Bad, Justified, the Shield's underneath there. Sons of Anarchy's over in there somewhere. And then, you know, of course, there's other ones. Addams Family, can't go wrong. You've seen these posters before. Exorcist, RoboCop. I wish I had escaped from LA. I only have escaped from New York, but that's okay. And I know what you did last summer. I don't need the other ones. The first one was the best. These right here are figures from the past. The Jax figures. That's a limited edition of Owen and Bret Hart. I had so much fun with these. The gimmick with these figures right here, up to here, was the bone-crushing action, because that says it right on top. These things are got some pretty good money for them. So it's got some good value. And, you know, there's some of these folks that are no longer with us, and they really did a fantastic job of entertaining us, or they're just not in the business anymore or whatever. I only figure Paul Bear. And one of my only ones of Mankind. I don't think I have another one of Mankind. This right here, of course, is the epic WrestleMania 12 matchup between Bret the Hitman Hart and Shawn Michaels for the greatest title of all time, other than the big gold belt from NWA and WCW. In my opinion, is the winning gold belt. I've grown a like for the Cena spinner belt. I don't think I'd ever have it, but I thought it was cool. I think it's cooler now because, you know, again, him retiring and everything like that. But that's my belt. That's an actual belt, too. That's not some phony ripoff. That's a replica. Doesn't have WWF. It's a newer one. I get it, but still, it's awesome. That is the championship belt that I think of when I hear the WWE World Heavyweight Champion or World Champion or whatever it may be. And you got Ric Flair and Big Show, or should I say Ric Flair and the Giant? I don't have much flair. I need more flair in my life. Don't we all, right? This right here is the old-looking mask from Scream 6. It's one of the ones that was in the museum. It's cool. I like it. It's something I got along the lines. We'll start over here. You can't get enough Grinch, as you can tell. I do like myself the Grinch. This one right here is something that Cynthia got for me. It's a Halloween decal from H2O. I find things like that funny. She didn't get this too long ago, so I just find it funny because that is not Michael from H2O. That is Michael, I think, from... Jeez, if I'm going to take a quick look here, I think it's the one from Rob Zombie. That's pretty close, but, you know, it's okay. It's still the thought that counts, and anything horror and Halloween related is cool with me. Got ourselves the Toxie. I used to have these figures when I was younger. I think there's only one other one you can get. It's the boss or the enemy in the original cartoon. But Toxie is an awesome, was an awesome TV show. It's an awesome movie. I like the originals. I don't know about the last one that just came out. I haven't seen it yet. And of course you got Venom from Toy Biz. This isn't Toy Biz 94. This is Toy Biz 91, 92. Like a few more of those. Silver Surfer, Hulk. I like a Colossus from the X-Men. I like a Wolverine. I like a whole bunch of stuff. But that's Toys R Us. And of course, you've got the you got the bomb or the cannonball from Mario. Can't go wrong with that. I wish I had more plush around, but here's where we start getting into the bigger changes. Again, another pretty big change. Right over here, it's pretty rare to find. It's like a plush. Every time I do this, it's like a plush, squishy pumpkin. There's a certain line for them. I forget what it's called. I've looked it up. They're pretty uncommon. They're sought after. So something to keep in mind in case you see them in the wild. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them. There's some bobblehead knockers. Can't go wrong with the lamp from A Christmas Story. How can you go wrong with Jason? Michael Myers with the eyes. Those eyes were from like a Spirit Halloween. I just always thought they were funny to be inside a mask. And of course you got Michael from... That's Halloween 6. That's Michael from the first Halloween. And I think that this is the Michael from... Actually, no. That may be the Michael from Halloween 2. Maybe that's the first Halloween and that's the Jason. I don't know. I get super confused with that stuff. But over here is a little bit more nonsense. This is where the magic happens in regards to editing and all my computer stuff and whatnot. Got some little trinkets in there. I think they're pretty cool. It's an R2-D2 out of the box from, or out of the package from the Power of the Force series. Pac-Man, Huggy Wuggy. My boy's really into that, so he gave me that because he's got another one. I always like getting little things like that. Energizer Buddy. I don't know what that is. What is that? Oh, that's the Riddler. I can't really see it. Sagat from Street Fighter, but released like, what was it? Released like a G.I. Joe type action figure. Shrek, SpongeBobby. Again, some gifts from the kiddo. And then this right here is a duck. I don't know why I'm focusing on this. That looks kind of funny. Yeah, it's a duck. No idea. Found it. Goes on the shelf of craziness. Thumbs up. You know we always want those in our videos. There's a C-3PO I was referring to if I didn't already. Chicken Nugget. This was a toy from, I think, McDonald's. Not something that's super old, but again, it's part of my childhood. At least the representation of it. That certainly isn't. That's not too old, but pretty cool stuff here. You know, just got some cool things here. I like it. Got an octopus, can't go wrong with that. Some Joker. Cool stuff. I've talked about these candles before. They're very old. They're from the 80s. And they hold a very heavy place in my heart. That's something my grandmother got for me. Put it away. She always was thinking of something that would be worth so much later on in life. And that was one of them. They actually go for a pretty good amount. But I think if I was ever going to open them up, it'd probably be my last birthday. If I knew it was the last, then let's open it up and fire them up. or I wouldn't do that because I couldn't pull them out of the package because I just can't do that. That's just not who I am. But nevertheless, we'll go over here real quick. A couple more posters, Silence of the Lambs, Scream. I've only got the first two. I don't have the third one or any other ones. It's just kind of where I like to end with the posters in regards to that. Some of them look really good, but this is kind of where I wanted to end. And you got some old figures from 1997, Final Fantasy VII, Cloud, Sephiroth, and Red 13. There's a bunch more of them. There's a Barrett, a Tifa, Yuffie, Kate Sith, Vincent. There's a few more of them. Those are the only ones I've gotten. I've never seen them in a while, honestly. I may have seen them at one toy store, but again, when you're going to buy something from a toy store, from a flea market compared to the thrift, you're going to pay up. And I don't remember how much it was, but I don't know. It was a little expensive, so I just decided to just keep what I have, and that's okay. Can't go wrong with the chicken, the Christmas chicken. And yes, he does make that obnoxious noise, because why not? There you go. You got him once. This right here is a squirt head from WWF. There you go. That's what I like to see. 1998, 1997, something like that. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. You put water in me squirts. Something cool. Pennywise I got along the way. Green Ranger Danger. Well, not Green Ranger Danger. That doesn't sound right. Green Ranger Mania. That's a video I have. It details all my Power Ranger stuff that I have. I'd love more of the original stuff. They came out with some new stuff too, but I'm okay with that. And then the Joker. Take a look at that. That, my friends, is the Joker. That is awesome. I love the way this looks. And you get a Bret Hart up there. This arm is something I found at the thrift. This is from the Terminator 2.5 or whatever it was, the IMAX release. I just found it at the thrift. I was like, that looks like a Terminator toy or action figure or accessory, and sure enough it was. Can't forget about your cupcake. Always need a cupcake in there. Like cupcakes. Big, small, don't matter. Here's some more of the Amiibos mix. Not really what I wanted to do, but it is what it is for space constraints. I can't move those all over here. So these are ones we've gone over before. Samus, the Metroid, pretty sought after. Pretty valuable. This one right here, Metroid Dread. And then, of course, can't go wrong with some Shovel Knight. It's a really awesome game. If you haven't had the chance to play it, play it. These right here we were going to get into. These are the WWE Superstars. They remind me of the Hasbro line. That was the first action figure set that I really started thinking I want to collect figures and not open them. Did I ever do it? I did not. There was a store in South Boston called Slocum's. It was right on the main street where everybody was going. You had a bunch of stores out there, Flanagan's. I lived in a couple different places, and one of the places I lived was not too far away from this place that I'm referring to. I lived above a TV repair store. Yeah, that was the thing back in the day. You could make money repairing TVs. I don't know about now, but that's how it was. But those figures, these figures make me think of those old Hasbros. Now let me tell you something, brother. You see good old Hollywood Hogan there. If you have those Hasbro figures, let's say, for example, there's many different lines. There's a blue line, yellow, red. I want to say there's a purple, an orange, and a green. I could be wrong in one of those. The green one, I know I'm not. The green one was the last line. It was released in 1994, I think, to 95. You get the 1-2-3 Kid, the Smoking Guns, Billy and Bart Gunn, Ludwig Voga, 1-2-3 Kid, Atom Bomb. And I think that's it. Some of those figures alone. Oh, Yokozuna as well, I think. He was in there. Some of those figures alone, by themselves, thousands and thousands of dollars they sell for. It's crazy. I was hunting those heavy like crazy. I was waiting for them to come into that store every single week. Just couldn't get them. Couldn't keep them in stock when they came in. Was what it was. Those green line figures go for so much money, it's ridiculous. If I had it my way, and I could pick any action figure set, which would be very difficult because I think of Ghostbusters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Masters of the Universe, it would be those Hasbro figures, because those were the first ones that I made that determination of, I want to start collecting in the box. I want to open things up, and that's weird because I was very, very, very young. I think I was 4 or 5 at the time when I thought of that. Don't know why. I still loved playing with my toys back then, and setting up the little forts and different things that you could do with them. But obviously now I don't really do that, and that's okay. If you do. I mean, I've got something that's in the garage. I might set up a diorama and set up a completely different type of video you wouldn't expect to even see from somebody like me. Not that there's anything wrong with me, but creativity, I'm creative, but in a different way than that. I think that would be a way to challenge my creativity. I see it. I saw it the second I saw these things, if it's something completely different. But I was like, I think this would really work for what I wanted to do. Maybe someday we'll get to it, but nevertheless, that is the method behind the madness. I don't really have a want or a need for any more of these. I've got the ones I want. I think they're cool. There was a few that I wanted. I wanted Yokozuna. I got a thing for Yoko. I wanted Yokozuna on the red card and the green card. I only got one Yokozuna in my collection. Yokozuna was an awesome wrestler. Agile for his size is like insane. Liked his promos. More interviews when I was younger. I think that's what I would have called them, and just really enjoyed his matches. And they haven't released him yet, but I mean, you got Mr. T, you got Muhammad Ali, you got Guerrero, you got a whole bunch of different figures here. I don't have those, but I have Mr. T and I have Muhammad Ali, but just really cool. We're gonna move on. Stuff you haven't seen in a long time, probably since Mass. Except for this one you have. This right there is my Negan figure. He's a very big one. I got a little one behind him. Love Negan. Can't go wrong with him. Mr. Clean. It was a gift from that person I used to work with at Hitting the Thrifts. This right here is the Metal Gear. Solid collection. I don't have all of them. I would prefer... I got all of these except for one, I think. I don't have Solidus Snake. These ones I'd like to complete of. I think I need Snake and Liquid. Yeah, that's all I need. Snake and Liquid, and I think I have them all. I'm pretty sure I have them all. Yeah, I think, I'm trying to think about it. Yeah, I have most of them, so that's really cool. I like that. Metal Gear is such a great series. If you've never played it, give it a try. I can't suggest that enough. That is Gray Fox. The Cyber Ninja. There's so much story to that. Some points could be confusing, but I'm glad that I finally got them up on display and you can actually see them better than you could up there. So they were buried behind turtles. Here we go with this. I got these remakes, reproductions. They're not original, but man, do they look like it. So I think they did a pretty good job of these figures. He is really hard to find. You obviously can't find a lot of these anymore. They've just come and gone. These ones you see very few of. I never got the Razor. It's a damn token Razor. It always comes back to haunt me. But this one was very hard to find. I found one out of the 9,000 times I probably went to Walmart. They don't have... I didn't think they had them at Target. Now, I'm going to show you this. These are some of the things to keep an eye out for. So, if for whatever reason, and it would be very expensive to do so, you're looking for these figures originally. Mint on card. Awesome. A few things to check for. This one's the easiest one to spot out of all of them, I would think. Toka's got a little different shade to him as well. But you see the Super Shredder here? So keep that picture in your memory for a sec. And then look at him here. It's clearly a pretty significant difference. Like, not super bad. Like, this doesn't look bad or good or indifferent. It's just different. The other thing to look for on those is the back. If you can zoom in, if you're buying it online or whatever, look at the back. It will say 2020, 2021, 2022. If you have an authentic one, there will obviously be differences of the figures. If you don't know them enough, it may be a little more difficult to find the differences and make that decision whether you want to buy something or not. Because, people pull some crazy stuff out there. And I think it's okay if you're saying that it's a replica, if it's a reproduction, that's okay. But if you're not saying that and you're portraying it as the original, that's not a good hustle. I don't judge people by their hustles. And hustling means making money, not other things. That's rotten hustling. So at least be honest. If somebody buys it, it's okay. I bought in things that I knew they were reproductions. It's nothing wrong with that. They're great. Again, that's just the biggest one I saw the difference with. These guys don't really have any differences at all that I can remember. like maybe a shade different in some parts, but very close. But again, just look at those dates. Really important. Moving on. This stuff we've gone over before. Again, Amiibos. I seem like I don't really like them, but I do. Trust me. It's just, I've talked about them so much. I don't know what else I could say about them. They represent all the great things about games. And they're cool little pieces to hang in the game room. Expensive now. Like that one, like I said, is pretty expensive. But, just keep that in mind. A ton of WWE figures. WCW ones are way up there. I never have space for. I could have actually put them down here, but I decided not to. You got your normal reign of the run here. The cream of the crop. Your Hogan, Taker. Love them with the gray gloves and boots. Would really like them with the purple as well. The Ultimate Warrior with that blue WWE, WWF Championship. Austin. I don't have enough Austin in my life. And there's my only Yokozuna. He's got the tag team titles. I got the Intercontinental title. I've got the WWF Championship. I have all the belts. And I've got newer ones as well. And of course, you got these figures right here. Now, these ones there's so many. I mean, kind of slow this down a little bit. There's so many different lines for action figures for wrestling now. It's ridiculous. I can't even keep track of them all. But these ones right here are called Ultimates. And they are that because the accessories, the articulation, the detail on them are amazing. I have a good amount of them. I wouldn't say good amount. I got 4 of them. Do I have any other ones I'd want? I saw Kamala want a Papa Shango, a Yokozuna, 100%. But again, those are kind of hard to find. All these are hard to find. Just got to be right place, right time. Bret Hart. Ooh, yeah, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Cream always rises to the top. And then, of course, Hogan, my favorite wrestler from the 80s and 90s. Hollywood Hogan, when he turned heel and changed the wrestling business. CM Punk, that's a pretty hard one to find. And I got a bunch of other ones up there. But obviously, we'd be here for like 5 years if I did that. Last thing I forgot to point out here was the golden tick. Love my tick figures, don't have them out enough. This is a poster that came with the Friday the 13th collector's complete series from Scream Factory, Show Factory, if you pre-ordered it. So, really cool. Love this poster. It was another one that came with it, but that's the one I chose to put up here. I wish I could draw that good. Or paint that good, rather. And over here was some of the things that I moved from over here. This is some of the stuff that's game related. And if you saw my last video, you understand that unfortunately, there's some stuff that's happened to me and I had to, sell some stuff. It just is what it is. Did I ever want to do that? No, but I got to be grown up, so I don't really want to get into it. That was a video for itself and that stays there, but unfortunately it left me with pretty big holes. And I think everything happens for a reason. Here's the reason why. Over there, and you're going to see it in a little while, and that's where my Ghostbuster stuff is. I had it up here. The amount of space that I was wasting, because I really just don't have a lot of it. Those are the reproductions, re-releases from the 2020s and on. That I could put something else up here, get some more stuff out into the game room, freshen it up. So I'm glad I was able to do that. But that's why you'll see some of this stuff here. And listen, I still have a love for it, and there's no difference in how I feel about games. But everything has its place. And sometimes you're going to move things around. Such an awesome thing. Finally got a gold cart. Not the one you were talking about, because if I had the real authentic Nintendo World Championships from 1990 gold cart, it's can go for $500,000 or over $1 million. I've seen it for a lot, and I've seen it bought for a lot, and I've seen it bought for less. Depends on the year, but that would be the holy grail of the NES. Other than Little Samson and maybe that track game. I can never remember what it's called, but it's a really hard one to find out in the wild. But again, I'm not looking for a complete collection. And if I ever found one of those in the wild, I probably wouldn't even do a video on it because I'd probably just pass out and lose it. I'd lose my mind. I've always dreamed of finding something like that in the wild. It'd be so cool. But nevertheless, Night Trap. Got some Super Mario figures here. That's something we don't see very often. TurboGrafx Mini I have. All of these. This one right here. Buddy Christ's going to go over that. Some Night Trap stuff. Trying to find some other things here. Can't go wrong with Buddy Christ from Dogma. And we'll just look at some posters real quick. Again, I'm not trying to be too in depth with these. We've already gone over these multiple times, but I just want to give you a quick overview. This right here is a really important release to me. The NES Classic Edition, when that came out, it blew everybody's mind away. They were so happy you could play on a officially released system, play some of your old Nintendo games. You can't put the cartridges in. Yes, I've heard of ways to putting more games on it. I didn't ever do that. I kept mine the way they were. But I think it's pretty cool. That right there, because of the amount of difficulty, it took I want to say it was 6 months to a year to get an NES Classic. You can't even get them now. They don't exist. They don't get made anymore. They should have came out with a 64. And I think that would have been a great place to stop. You got your bang for your money. Sega did 2 of them. They did this one. They did the Sega Genesis 2, which was Sega CD games, which never got the chance to buy. But I know somebody that has one, and I may somewhere down the line get one. Absolutely love those, if he still has it. That Super Nintendo one, though, because of how much difficulty I ran into, I said, you know what? I haven't been to a midnight release in forever. I probably have gone one to COD and a few other things. I really wanted to do it, and it's funny because I want to say it's 2017. That was the last, that was almost the last thing I could think of that has ever come up that you want to go for midnight release, because they didn't do them very often. 3 years later, obviously, the pandemic would hit in 2020, and that changed a whole bunch of stuff, and we don't need to go into that. But I just don't hear about or see these things happen. I know it happens like when Apple releases a phone and stuff like that. I get it. But for games, there's so much fun. Even if you didn't get it, it would suck. But I think I went after a PlayStation 2, and I want to say I missed it by one person, and it was what it was. But this one I sat there. It was at my work. I was at a big box retailer. It was the place I used to work at. I did it the right way. There's a lot of nefarious means that people can get things and all kinds of nonsense they can pull behind the scenes. I obviously don't. That's not me. It's not who I am. I wanted to do it the right way and get the experience. I was there with 5 other people for a couple hours, and then more and more and more and more, so on and so on. So, really cool. First person in line. It's for my work. I know, I get it. But I had great conversations. People were actually even asking me, why don't you just put one aside for yourself? I don't want to do that. I'm not supposed to do that. I want to do it for the experience and have some fun. Well, I didn't have to sit here. And, there's some people that got it, but some people that didn't get it. But listen, that was a great day. I haven't played it too much, but it just brings back memories. And I can pop it on the HD TV anytime I want. I do see some lag. Again, CRT. Perfect. That's the way these games are meant to be played. There will be some minor lag in them, or if you hooked up one of these old systems to an HD TV. There's ways to change it. Don't really want to get into it, but nevertheless, moving on. Right here is the vinyl. Get some VHS in there. An Aliens quadruple pack or quadrilogy or whatever it would have been called. And of course the Laserdisc. Not really what I want to keep it, but it is what it is. This is what we have for spacing. I've tried to pull out a vinyl. It's not too terribly hard. I'm just trying to see why there's a Laserdisc poking out there. I have no idea why. But nevertheless, this is one of the other things I want to show. Another snake. Can't go wrong with that. It's a king cobra, baby. And he does that sometimes. And I don't know why. I gotta fix him real quick. That's gonna drive me nuts. Yeah, that's fine. I'll fix him at some point. He likes to slide behind there. And then you get the moon. Why? Because the moon's awesome. Same reason why I got this mini disco ball. It's awesome. Oh, I forgot to show that. That's another thing that I've had forever, and that's a gift I got from friends before I left Massachusetts. A flamingo with some Florida stuff on it. So pretty cool. On to this. We're in the final round, folks. I know it's been a while, but we got a little bit more to go, and we could do a recap and get out of here. Let you enjoy the rest of your day. This right here is something I got last year. I absolutely love this thing. I found this in the trash. Here's a fun fact, as my kid would say. I suck at cleaning glass. I hate glass. Don't like windows, don't like dishes. It just drives me nuts. I'm not good at it. My kid, other than me putting my fingerprints on here, he did really well with this. This thing was nasty looking, scuffed up. It still got some scuffs. It had some tape residue. I could get that off with a razor blade, but it's all good. It is what it is. But these things are great. Absolutely love this. It's exactly what I envisioned. I eyed this and it just fit. Before that was here, this just fit and I was able to get it in. So I think this looks great. Got a vinyl player in here from the thrift. VHS from 1998. WWF. Let's go. I think some of them have mold, unfortunately. A couple of random things in here as well. There's another copy of Aliens. It was just the trilogy. I provided that one at the thrift. Couldn't believe it. Seeing that on the thrift. Wild. Death Star. Weird doll head thing. Don't even ask. Something my Cynthia gave me. She calls me handsome, so hashtag handsome. She got that made at a duck place down in Cape Cod. PS4, PS5 games. And then you can't go wrong with this. Political poopers. I just found it funny. Grabbed them. Never opened them. They're just funny. They poop candy. So that's something to think of. Right here is some Marshmallow guys that came out, I think, when I'll get to it at some point, when the Slimer came out a couple years ago. I just thought it was cool because it reminded me of the ooze that used to get. The slime. That $1 million right there, that's a legitimate $1 million bill. That's right. I have it in the game room. This game room was worth over $1 million. I'm joking. I was walking one day outside of my work, and that thing like smacked me right on the foot. I looked down. I was like, "What the hell is that?" Lo and behold, $1 million. And it's not real. It's just the strangest thing. It was weird. I just was going outside looking for something, making sure something was okay. Whatever I was outside for, and then it just hit my foot, and I was like, never thought I'd see $1 million floating around, but yeah, pretty cool. That is, that's what I have there. I have a bunch of CDs there and everything like that. Up here, almost forgot to go over this. Some of my masks, best Jason hockey mask I have. Ducks with the Death Row charms, because you know gangster rap in the 90s was awesome. Death Row, baby. And then Freddy Krueger with those weird looking eyes again. Not my favorite mask, but he's got a fedora. He's got his awesome necker glove. You can't go wrong with that. And of course, Michael has the crown, but it really should be on him. But, you know, it's okay. We'll give Michael the crown today. Here's my favorite part of this, or one of them. Look at that. This is what drew me to this thing. Awesome, right? I got a Toshiba. I think it's a 32-inch or 20-inch. I don't know. It's somewhere between the 20 and... I think it's 25, 30, maybe 32. I have no idea. But it's a pretty big TV. Both the DVD and the VHS work. I prefer to use the VHS player down there. I don't want to wear this out. I wouldn't even know how to get a tape out of there other than breaking it. So, I mean, it's kind of silly you got to use it. But I use it from time to time. I just am very cautious about it because I don't know. I know a lot about these, like the VHS players down there. I don't know a lot about TV VHS players and how that works. It's still pretty cool. Funny story with this is I thought my sound went or it was dying, so I want to try to protect this as much as possible because these CRTs are really expensive, even now because everybody wants them. So I went ahead and took a composite line, ran it all the way up here, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I mean I had to get it in that little hole, and there's a lot of shit to move here. This thing's fairly heavy. The TV is fairly heavy too. And I just found out it was just a cord that was missing out of one of the consoles. But it's fine. Now I can listen to its surround sound. Pretty cool stuff. Blockbuster, can't go wrong with that. Some other random things up here I've collected over the years. That's the VHS I was talking about there. That's a SummerSlam 94 VHS. And then down here, we have our Laserdisc player. Got a few of those. I'm very fortunate to have it. That's a really good one. And we got the VHS with a bunch of VHSs all over the place. Can't go wrong with some Goosebumps. And then we got a Super Beta. Never got the thing turned on yet. I should say I haven't got the thing turned on yet. I wouldn't hook that up because of its age just to have on all the time like I have these other stuff. it could be turned on. That would be separate. And I want to see if it even works. I have one beta tape. It's from Walt Disney. That's right down there. So I'd love to have more beta. Beta is not really different from VHS. I don't know what the quality difference is because I've never seen it. But it's the same idea. It's just a different company that made them. The VHS was made by one company and beta was made by and distributed by many others. Same thing with VHS, but it's really cool. I think it'd be awesome to watch something in beta in that CD-based, non-Laserdisc form of media. I'd really like. I forget what they're called. Like you put the CDs into the machine, and it's almost like a record player in a sense, and it just sucks it in. Like it doesn't suck in the actual disc. It's in the square thing, but the disc is in there, and then once you put it in, it removes the disc, and you could take it out, and then once you're ready to take it out, I just wish I could remember what it is. It's not very practical. It's stuff. I've heard these machines don't last very long. They weren't made very good. But hey, listen. I have a Laserdisc player that's been around forever, and it works. A VHS player that works. I have a Sega CD from 1993 or 4. It still works to this day. That is well over. What are we saying here? So if I said 93, 23, 23. So that is well over 20 years old. Still works fine. No issues with it. So maybe that's just word of mouth. But I like this. Pretty cool stuff here. Can't go wrong. We want to do some retro playing and gaming or VHS watching, Laserdisc, or beta eventually when I get a beta. Here we go right here. This is a cool edition. Got some VHS here and some CDs I like. Why not? Because they're there. And again, same thing here. Just brings me back. I always wanted these. I used to play with one that was in the. I'll not play with one. I used to open the drawers up and look at it when it was either at the thrift or even when I was younger when it was in, just getting sold as new. Like something like this always interested me because of those doors and because of that. Just reminds me of an old movie theater. Nothing really has changed over here, so we'll go through this stuff fairly quickly. Or at least as quick as I can. Want to have some story time, of course. Original Ghostface, not the original mask. If I had that, that would be a hefty price tag right there for sure. Got a rubber shark. Why? Because why not? Eagle, always watching, and a Metroid, because Metroids invade our lives. And then, of course, we got our gaming setups right here. My Nintendo's behind me. I've been kind of using it out in the living room more. I've got, a couple different means of doing so. So I finally found some connector RC cables so I didn't have to disconnect all this. So the reason why I'm saying that, this is an 8-channel switcher. Any one of these buttons I could push, it will switch on to whatever the console is. Fairly simple. It's hooked up by one little thing that I hook up into there. Makes my life so much easier. I don't want to keep pulling things out and putting things back in. It's a plush here from Mario. Another snake. I told you, you got to think for snakes. N64. I'd love an N64. Neon green or gold from Toys R Us. A part of me would like a complete in box. Part of me would just like to have it. I don't know. I've always wanted. That's why when I was younger, green was my favorite color. And then as I got older, grew blue, black. More so along those lines, but I love green. Super Nintendo. Some other ones as well. It's a thrifted item right there. The Xbox. The door kind of catches, but other than that, it's okay. I got my secondary Sega CD system. In case I ever want to play it out in the living room, that's how I do it. Atari, can't go wrong with that. And of course, Sega Master System. Got a pretty good selection of games there. Not a whole bunch compared to some of my other games, but we're going to get to that. Don't worry, the gaming's going to come. Don't mind all the hodgepodge on the ground. We got the Crow poster because I wanted to move that somewhere it was be able to be seen. First one's the best one. Can't tell me otherwise. Just my opinion. Subjective, of course. Super Nintendo World. Cynthia, along with her siblings, went for a sister's weekend or whatever. And she was such an awesome person. She, of course, thought of me. Went to the Super Nintendo World. And her opinion, if I remember, she wasn't that really impressed. It was almost like a Walmart or a Target, but not to that level. It just didn't feel like a boutique store that it should feel like. I've seen videos of the New York one as well, because there's a New York Nintendo store, and It has some things there. It has some antiques. It has, you know, the Nintendo and stuff like that. If you've never seen one, but when I think of a Super Nintendo world, I think of CRTs. I think of having the greatest of greatest on display, not for you to touch, but just on display to be able to see the Nintendo World Championships, gray and black, or gray and gold carts. To be able to see the NES and the demo switcher and there's a whole bunch of other stuff with there. That's what I'd like to see with something like that. But, you know what? It's still cool that we even have a store like that. And she got me that sign, so it reminds me of Super Mario World for the Super NES. And right here, of course, is more posters. That one is driving me nuts. That's got to be redone. All the Nightmare on Elm Streets. A quick story about Nightmare on Elm Street. That's a pretty subjective one right there, right? The 2010 remake, reboot, whatever the hell you call it. What's your favorite? I can tell you right now, the first, the third, and the fourth is probably my favorites. I like this as I get older. Didn't really understand it when it first came out until Scream came out, and I said, wait a minute, I've seen that before. So, in that one, I actually do like this. I just wish they didn't mess up the CGI. The story is kind of a little convoluted. And again, I'm not trying to get into a review here, but I just see it and I know that that's not everybody's favorite movie. I thought it was cool. I thought it was okay. I just think that some things could have been better. I think the intent behind it was right. And I think that, you know, just things happen. What are you going to do? I mean, look at Freddy's Dead. That's not really a super heavy hitter for a lot of people. I like it because it's Freddy Krueger, but, you know, that one has grown a lot more on people as years go on. Maybe just enough time hasn't passed enough, but not a lot of people are really happy with the old Freddy's Dead, but I like it for what it is. It's Freddy Krueger. What can you do? His darkest version, obviously, I would say would probably be the first one. The third and fourth, because I love the movie art. Like, I am going to eventually get that tattooed on me. Both of them, 100%. Probably that too. You know what? I should just get them all. Yeah, except for that one. I wouldn't get that. I don't even think I'd get New Nightmare, but like some sort of variation of these, I'd love to get that. How can you beat that artwork? Look at that. That's amazing. Let's go. Not the original artwork. I don't believe it is, at least. It's an alternate artwork, because the original artwork, I think, just has Freddy just sitting there with his claw ripping through something or whatever. But nevertheless, we're moving on to the final section of the game. I'm going to wrap this up and send you folks on your way to enjoy the rest of your day. Figures you've seen before, NECA. I'm not really going to get too far into them. Really good price. Really good worth. Really good value in these figures. Last Toys R Us item I ever got was that Green Ranger helmet. And later on in life, I would get the Dragon Zord Legacy Edition along with the Dragon Dagger. I'd like to get an original. I don't really necessarily need it for in the box. It'd be great. I'd love to find a thrift. That is like one of the things, other than the Laserdisc, I finally found a Laserdisc player at the thrift after going a bazillion times. But I'd love to find a Dragon Zord and a Dragon Dagger at the thrift. That actually worked. That would be awesome. Just saying. Right down below, we got some Tiny Toons. Gone over these many times. Great figures. I don't know if I have a need or want for any more of them, but never say never. Guitar Man down there. That's a pretty interesting one. I don't think I really get him on camera too often, but here we go right here. The cream of the crop, the NECA figures. Token Razor. So I'm going to go over a story and why these figures are so notorious with me. I got a Super Shredder too. I just never popped them out. I never brought them out, and lo and behold, after digging through the closet of the garage, I've done a bunch of different cleans over the last year. I found that I did have them, but I didn't know I did. Which is weird, because the one story that always pops in my mind with these guys right here. I think even these ones, not this one, because this wasn't really shit, but these two right here, along with their individual selves, along with Super Shredder. And I think it was, yeah, I think those just came out. It was at a Walmart. It was the day before I was leaving Massachusetts to move down to Florida. Way too much going on in my mind. I was like, you know what? I don't think I need to add any more crap, because we have two entire transportable like containers full of our shit, and my car was full to the brim. I said, you know what, I'm just too tired. Oh, did I regret that? Because I could have got them all in one whack, and it would have been the same amount of money I paid, because I did pay from NECA, but if you looked online for a long time, that figure right there was going for like $300, $400, $500. That's a lot of money. And I'm glad that I got it at the correct retail price. I'm glad I waited. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but that is such a awesome looking figure. I've gone over it a bunch of times, but definitely one of my prized possessions. And again, more NECA figures. You can't go wrong with a NECA Horror. Awesome. Great job with these Ultimates. They look fantastic. I don't think these were called Ultimates. Oh, sorry, these ones, the earlier ones. But, you know, it's all good. These figures right here, they go for a pretty penny. You get into collecting horror figures from this time, good luck. Lots of money. This one, too. Great figure. Got this online. I wish I could have went to the convention to pick it up in 2015, but I didn't. It's the only time that I can remember, in my recollection, that Pamela and Jason were released in a 2-pack. Up here, they were up here. That was the only other time. But that is Sackhead Jason. That is Kid Jason. I've never seen him released by himself either in their cloth. They're amazing. Just great. Look at that. Killer, mommy. Killer. I better be careful with that. Funny story of Friday the 13th. In some of my older videos, my entrance had the theme song for that, but it wasn't the theme song. I didn't rip it. I didn't use it from something else. I didn't have it in the background. I did it. I didn't even do it correctly because there's a certain way to do it, and I won't do it now because I'll run into the same problem again, and a bunch of my videos got flagged for it. And it wasn't like super big deal flags. It was just copyright claims. It wasn't anything big. And I'm not monetized, so that makes it a little bit easier on me. But because I made that noise and I did it, like, I was kind of doing something like this, and then I raised up. I started a video and I used it for one of my intros. It sounded apparently too much like the theme for that movie. I got dinged for it. I find it funny because I did it with my mouth. Again, there's 2 ways to doing it. There's the correct way and the non-correct way. I mean, they kind of sound similar, but I just always find it's funny when I go to that. So this one I got somewhere around the line. Another cloth figure. I wasn't huge into the cloth figures, but these look great. I think these look really good. Look at that one from Friday the 13th Part 3. That's nasty as shit. And you got Jason Lives, a Dream Warrior Freddy, because you can't have enough Freddy in your life. Look at that picture. You just can't make that shit up. I love these figures. That's one I don't show off too often. That's a Joker Toonie comic one. I don't think I'd ever get any other ones, but Joker is my thing. Love that Joker. Can't go wrong with him. Some Ghostface, Chucky. Normal suspects. Now we're going to get into the last part of the game room tour. We're going to wrap this up and send you on your way. Getting pretty long here. VHS, what can I say? Every one of these has a impact on me in some way, shape, or form. I love my horror. Stuff that my mom loved. Stuff that we liked to watch when we were younger. Or when I was younger, she'd watch with me. Like a lot of these are definitely part of that. So I could almost picture all of them except for that. RoboCop 2, of course. The Crow. My mom loved the first Crow. Thought this was okay, and then she really didn't. She lost interest after this. So, but yep, that's really what those are there for, and I like to be able to look at them, and they're more prominent. This is the last change to the game room. They put all the Ghostbusters, which wasn't very many, over to here. Again, if you're looking to get these figures authentic, original vintage, 86, 87, whatever they came out, when you look at the pictures, look at the dates, because they will say 2020 to 2022 or whatever, or 21. But if you look at them very quickly, hard to tell the difference. But they're amazing. They're great. I love these. Can't have enough Slimer in my life. Finally got this on display. I had this behind there forever, and I just want it to be more prominent. I have an original one, but it hasn't held up. But I got some of my original figures in there. Got Janine and Egon there. I don't know what he's looking at. He's looking at somewhere else. Should be paying attention to the road. He's going to hit all these figures. Got some accessories in there from my loose NECA figures that I showed you before. Jason, Freddy, and Michael. I think that's funny that in a Ghostbusters car we have an axe and a bunch of other murderous tools, but it's fine. Yeah, that's pretty cool though. I like it. Look at that. Such a cool looking replica. Looks amazing. Look at that box. That just screams 80s to you. So happy with that. And of course, we got to do the honorary Slimer. Although we've never done it before, we're going to do it today. Yeah, that's Slimer all right for you. I got Vigo the Carpathian up there. And then, I got Gozer. I don't have a lot of these figures. I wish I had more of these. These things came out fantastic. They look great. But again, they're so big. I don't even know where I'd have the space. But last, and certainly not least, I didn't want to rush through this, but here we are with the games, folks. You've seen them many times before. The NES games that I have here are NES games that mean a lot to me, that have some sort of attachment to my childhood, or with my mom, or with my friends, or whatever it may be. Some of them don't. I would say 95% of them have some sort of story. Anybody ever see this before? You like Festus Quest? A lot of people don't like it because it's extremely difficult, very unfair, 2 bars of health, 1 life, go all the way back to the beginning kind of crap. But I love Festus Quest. Such a good game. Turbo controller you need for this, especially now. I don't have the... I used to pride myself on being able to push that button that fast to shoot these little things out of this little weird little thing that looks out of Turtles 2. Those little guns that the foot soldiers carry. Looks like the same thing. That's such a good game. Can't go wrong with all those. Ninja Gaiden. Can't go wrong with that. Cherry from Pee Wee's Herman's Playhouse. Used to have a bunch of Pee Wee Herman stuff, but it's gone, including the Playhouse. Drives me nuts that I don't have that anymore. NES games. Loose. Those are all my original ones. Got some Switch, some Hulk, N64, limited run stuff, Super Nintendo. Got some Zelda. I mean, you don't see these very often. Not just the game. I mean, this package looks like absolute dog shit, but do they really put any effort into their stuff anymore? I mean, I guess some of the sets, right? Because we've got, I don't even think you could see it, but I have a Turtles one, I have a Switch Night Trap one there. But, like, the games you see today, some of them aren't even on carts anymore, like the Switch 2 stuff. Not on carts anymore, but like they don't even have instruction manuals. I don't know, maybe I'm just dating myself, but what do you think about that? Just look at this. Now this is worth $60 or $70. This is worth between $50, $60, $70, whatever it was, right? Just an awesome piece of history. I wish I took more care of it, but you just don't see them like that anymore. Like I'll just give you an example. One of the most debatably worst games in the NES library. Ghostbusters, right? But when you see that, I want to buy this. Man, did they know they were doing, right? I mean, you just don't see things like that. It comes with instructions, posters. It didn't charge you really extra for the game. Like, again, it's just... I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I like having this stuff. Different times. Look at that. That was one. I rented that game so many times. And then I finally got it complete. I was so happy. I didn't rent the first one. I rented the second one like a madman from a local place in Massachusetts at a video rental store when that was a thing. Of course, you got my cream of the crop here. My Sega CD games. Absolutely love them. Love collecting for the systems. My favorite system to collect for. And you get happy birthday. Hey, listen, it's my birthday soon, so why not give me a happy birthday real quick, huh? I think somebody had this on their cake at some point. I think this would be pretty cool to keep up there. It does do some pretty crazy stuff, so some folks are a little sensitive to that, What are you going to do? But, yeah, it's pretty cool. So we'll just do that, get that shut off real quick. There we go. Happy Halloween, why not? I always get my eye on you, of course. And then underneath here is, like I said, the Master System games with some other stuff. Random Genesis, Wii. Got the 32X, PS1. I've been playing a lot of PS1 recently. I gotta play more Xbox. That's Xbox One right there. Not Xbox One, the original. That one, the OG Xbox. I tried to hunt that thing down forever. I didn't want to pay the price in the game store for it. And I finally found one up in Mass. It took forever to find this. A working one that had the plug and everything with it. So, yeah, pretty cool. Super Nintendo games complete in box. These ones are just ones that I really like. I appreciate. Can't beat the old Turtles, Metroid, Castlevanias. Get some Star Wars sitting there as well. And some Super Double Dragon. Then over here is my Genesis games. Love the Sega Genesis. Have so much fun with it. I've been playing. It's Castlevania Bloodlines for a little bit. Got some good titles in there. I got the McDonald's title on there. I'd like to play that on the Let's Play Some Video Games episode at some point. Look at that. That's second to last game. Or is it? So what did it have? We had In Your House PS1. You had Raw. And then we had, I want to say it was just the Warzone, not the Attitude game. This is one of the 4 games or 3 games that Owen Hart was actually in. He's not in any of their stuff anymore for a number of different reasons, but Batman and Robin, that game is really difficult. I gotta get better at that. I played it a few times. Boogerman I absolutely love. And you got the PS3 games there. Some good one right there. It's one of my cream of the crops for the PS3. Metal Gear set. And then, of course, you got the PS2. We got a bunch of banners on there. I've been playing the Shield pretty recently. I mentioned that earlier. And you got Thanos there protecting some games. And, that's pretty much it. I got a 3DS in here. I got all kinds of weird stuff in here that maybe you might notice, maybe you won't. But pretty cool stuff. Good wrap up of the game room. We'll do one more quick pan of the Room of Doom. Get as much of it in as we can. And you folks can let me know. Even though I thought I was going to do this at the beginning. I hope I didn't. I hope I don't repeat myself. I don't think I am. Minus the mess, of course, that we have. We have a little bit of mess. I've been bouncing things around back and forth. Let me know in the comment section down below. What was your favorite part of the 2026 Game Room Tour from the House of Fun and Video Games? Many things to choose from. Did you like my updates? Did they make sense? Does any of this make sense? Is it chaotic to you? I don't know. You let me know. There are many ways to get the House of Fun and Video Games. Jason's House of Fun and Video Games on Facebook. Jason's House of Fun and Video Games on TikTok. And I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very happy with the engagement that I get here and TikTok. There's a lot of engagement, a lot of great things. Thank you very much to 308 awesome, amazing folks who subscribe to the House of Fun and Video Games, who come back every time watching the videos, giving me the old thumbs up, commenting, getting into some great conversations. On the other platforms that I said we can get any more conversations, especially with Facebook, Jason's House of Fun and Video Games. You can show me pictures of your game room, stuff you found at the thrift, stuff you may have found in the trash, because that's where that's from. All kinds of stuff that we can share. Take the conversation to a different level than we could do on this platform, because you can't share pictures on here. But I think that's just about it. I think I've said all I needed to say. Santa from a different part of time. I think it's from the 80s, and I had a big one, but didn't make it. Some other things here that mean important to me. My mom's last teddy bear, the green one, I spent a lot of money to get it out of some sort of weird machine. Got a bully and then Basset Hound, as you met earlier. Not the bully, but you met him at some point. These are the figures I was talking about here. Special edition WWF, Nation of Domination. I have another one back there with the championship belts. You got some Lords of the Rings. Again, I told you I love the Care Bears. I went hog wild on those Care Bears. Up there you got a Jaws, it's like the talking fish gimmick gag thing. That hasn't worked in years. That's something I picked up a long, long time ago. And then we've got the Turtles play set. Lord of the Rings set as well. Very big one. And the Masters of the Universe I was talking about. I think both of these were affected by a hurricane. I don't know, though. I can't remember. And then that's another thing for the Care Bears. And then, of course, Scum and Villainy. Jabba the Hutt. That is an awesome statue. That's something that my mother-in-law got me. Rest in peace. So good. I don't know why. I thought it was great. And she knew I was into this kind of stuff, so I think originally it had some sort of thing in it. I think it actually had hot sauce in it. I think she found it at the thrift. She loved the thrift as well. So good. Got all my WWF, WWE videos, DVDs. I don't have the network or Peacock anymore, so this is what I usually watch to go to sleep at night. And right here we've got some my 4Ks down to my Blu-rays and stuff like that. Over here, now all these used to be in the game room, but I just liked them to be close to me and I could be able to watch them and everything like that. So over here is a lot of DVDs that I like. I've been watching DVDs a lot more often, to be honest with you, which I find is funny. But, you know, got a whole bunch of them in here. I got some good collector sets here. We'll go down below. X-Files. That's an awesome set of the Terminator. I found this funny. I think I was trying to mention this at one point. This is what this had on there. Pioneer Laserdisc. That sticker was on there, but it's a VHS set. I also have one for Terminator 1 as well. But pretty cool stuff there. And then, if we go over here, some more of my box sets here. The ones I always talk about, of course, the Ghostbusters complete cartoon series, The Shield, Halloween, Friday the 13th. There's so many here. Blue Blood, such a great show. Game of Thrones, I still got to get into. I haven't yet. The Stooges, Sopranos, you can't go wrong with all those. And then, last, and certainly not least, got some tins over here, the DVDs from way back in the day, zombie classics. There's all kinds of stuff here. I couldn't get into everything. Maybe a video, maybe someday. I did a video of all my DVDs and media and everything like that, but yeah, take a while. Didn't like the way it came out. It's too long. Things like that, but I'm pretty happy with the movies I have. Can't go wrong with Kevin Smith. I know Dogma just came out on 4K recently. I hope that all these do, but I think this one has before. Maybe not, but I have everyone except for Clerks 3. That's the one I really want. And I haven't seen it yet. It's on Blu-ray. It's somewhere. I have no idea. But again, just a look at the DVDs. I have a section really just dedicated to horror, which is some of it's here. And the rest of it's right over here. A lot of these I have upgraded. I got the Grudge movies. The other two were okay, but nothing beats the first one. The Grudge is awesome. This is Jason. Lots of fun in video games. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night, day, week, whatever it is. I don't even remember what day I'm doing this on. So just enjoy the rest of your week and please come back again. And I think we'll end the video like we always do. That's a wrap. That's a riggedy wrap. Now what do I do now? Play some games. Could edit this video. It's going to take a while. It's a long one. Or maybe we'll just sit back and listen to some classic tunes from the 40s and 50s. This is something we didn't really go over. But I just fixed it. And it's amazing.